This is 97.3 City FM.
The president tried as much as he could to hold on to all of us because he's a very appreciative person. He knows how much work we all did to help him to win the elections, and he also knew there were all young people around him. And he had confidence in young people, even though he believed also that they will keep making mistakes. And so he will not, just because you have slipped the following morning, announce your dismissal. Anytime that he had to take out a young person, it was usually very painful, agonizing moments. And I was close to him and I saw how agonizing it was for him to take decisions regarding my brother Muntaka Mubarak, because yes, he made mistakes, but these are young people that I'm trying to groom up. I've given them opportunities. They are making mistakes, and some of the mistakes are threatening to destroy them. And the father figure that he was, it was very painful each time that any of us young people made a mistake and he was forced to take drastic decisions. But very often he would absorb the criticism and the punishment. Actually, I mean, when the public attacked, it was painful for him rather, because this is somebody who jealously guarded his reputation because he believed that was all that he had. He wasn't a rich man. He's taught for 25 years, he's worked in the public sector, but he wasn't a rich man. And all he had, which kept him in the leadership of the party and gave him a favorable disposition with Ghanaians, was his reputation. So it wasn't something that he ever wanted to compromise on his reputation. So any attack on President Nelson's reputation was usually something that hit him hard. But all the same, some of us learn how to approach it in a certain way. Others...
Do you think that Koku ever learned how to approach things in a different way? Until the demise of the president, of course.
I believe we're all learning,
But you don't think he's learned?
He's learned a lot of things. It doesn't mean he will not make other mistakes given another opportunity. But I believe that he's learned a lot of things.
Should he have been fired for the many blunders he has reported, according to his critics who have committed, bringing the image of the presidency to disrepute?
The instances where I have seen the president fire people have to do mostly with things like corruption, abuse of public office, and etc. Often when it has to do with you making mistakes in the work that you've done, very often he would rather give an opportunity to correct them. And Koku will come to the office and so, Dada, I'm sorry, I allowed my emotional part to take over me. He will say, look, don't repeat that, I don't like these things. And then we will all walk. We all make mistakes. We go in there and then we say, oh, Dada, we are sorry. And then we will say one or two angry things at us and then we will get up and then walk away. So Koku, yes, made mistakes. I also made mistakes. A lot of us made mistakes. Zita, who was information minister, made mistakes. All of us, I mean, once in a while, my brother Ablakwa made mistakes. All of us made mistakes. But he... will call us to the office. I don't like you saying this. I don't like you saying it this way. But he wouldn't go public about it because he saw us as young boys that he was training for this country.
He prefers bedroom counseling of his ministers rather than reprimanding them in public. That's quite curious.
Well, it depends on the kind of thing that you did. In the case of corruption and clear abuse of office, I mean, in most cases, he will take action, but in taking action, he will temper it with some sensitivity and etc. But in mistakes like, you're supposed to say something a certain way, and then you said in a different way that provokes public anger, he would rather, actually go out there and apologize, like the last instance regarding the stadium where Koku had to be virtually, asked to go out there and apologize and etc. In most cases, it would just be in his office. In the morning, he will be angry. You will come. He will tell you he's not happy that you've done this or that, and then you will apologize and etc. I remember one instance when I went public about his decision not to accept hampers during Christmas. He was not happy at all. He said, "Look, this is personal. I didn't intend that you go out there and talk about this, and even go on BBC and talk about this. I just don't want to do it. Period. And I didn't even want anybody to know that I'm not doing it this way. Why did you go public on it?" I apologized.
But his ministers, did not stop collecting hampers. They still collected hampers.
Yeah, because so his was a personal decision. He didn't think that I should go public about it. Why did I go public about it? Because, you know, there are limitations to what you can learn just being around the president.
So the president listened to you.
Oh yeah, he did.
You wanted to become a deputy minister.
Because he also wanted to groom me. He wanted me to become a good leader, a good politician, and a good, you know, public officer. He believed that diverse experience will give me that opportunity and that level of learning that this country will benefit from. I mean, if you happen to have that kind of exposure, we all benefit from. If you've been a lawyer before, so you understand what happens in the judicial arm of government, at the bar, you know, you have been a member of parliament for 4 years in opposition, so you understand the legislature and its intricacies and its politics. At the presidency, I learned a lot about, you know, the presidency. So what I realized I didn't have was ministerial experience working in the public service. Because frankly speaking, when I finished law school, I did a teaching assistant job at the Faculty of Law for a year. Afterwards, I went straight into private practice, and then, you know, non-governmental organization work and public interest law and etc. I had never worked in the public service as public service, so I wanted that experience. And the president just looked at my own background and the things that I've been through and thought, okay, fine, this guy has a case. It's good to give him that exposure if he really wants it. And besides, you see, he was also surprised that, you know, you will be at the presidency, office of the president, be my spokesperson, and get up one day and say, hey, look, I think that I should have alternative experience. Let me get down there to being a deputy minister, learn how to work under a minister, and so he thought that it was a good idea, and so he sent me out, and then, you know, I had a great time, a great experience, really trying to do things on the ground beyond just floating up there at the level of the presidency. So my living there had nothing to do with Boku Central. My leaving the presidency and going to the ministry had nothing to do with Koku. Koku is my very good friend. We are in touch almost, you know, all the time when we have the opportunity. People have their issues with Koku, and those, many people don't know him that well. I work closely with him, and I think I know him to some extent, and so I have maintained a very good relationship with him. Neil and Van der Poy. I mean, the boys who were around the president in the critical moments of his political career, we made sure that we remained together. In fact, my getting to the president, I think I need to make this point, my getting to the presidency as a presidential spokesperson was totally by accident. By accident. Let me tell you why I say it's by accident. I had never imagined myself being a presidential spokesperson because I was a parliamentary candidate hoping to win my seat. Is that okay? And if I was a member of parliament, there was no way I could also be a presidential press secretary. I mean, it's not the two jobs don't easily combine. So it was just by accident that, given the results in Boku Central, the president said, well, you are not moving an inch. You are stuck with me here. And I said, well, I can't leave you also. Let's try and set up government.
97.3 City FM is the station. This is Inside Politics. My guest this morning, Mahama Ayariga, the NDC's parliamentary candidate for the Boku Central constituency. He once was the member of parliament for that constituency, but lost in the 2008 elections. He's seeking to return to parliament. Many people are accusing him of so many things, including possibly being the hand that may have led to the incarceration of the current member of parliament for the area, the Honorable Adamu Dramani II.